Okay, should you buy RYOBI tools or not? That's the question. And here's my take on it. And just for those of you that don't know me, or haven't watched my channel or any of my builds or whatever over the years, I do my own projects. I do my own building, I do my own construction, I do my own automotive work, I do my own welding projects. So I'm drilling in steel all the time. I I drill in concrete with these tools. I do my own stuff, and so I'm not just your I don't want to say average, but your normal drill buyer that might drill a couple holes with it a year or drill it in drywall to hang some pictures. I don't know, and I'm just saying that I'm not a pro user, so I don't use these tools every day hard, but I use them hard when I do use them. Building decks, I built a 20 by 30 deck with this drill right here, and drilled holes and drove screws. So my point is about these blue tools. My wife bought me this set in 2001 for Christmas, and it was a drill. Of course, they didn't have impact drivers back then. There was no such thing as a 1/4 inch impact driver, or if there were, I didn't have one. And it came with a sawzall, it came with a skill saw, it came with a flashlight and a little vacuum cleaner. 18-volt batteries were NiCads. They were terrible. They were awful. I hated them. And I just hated this kit because I just hated RYOBI because I was like, this is things like, I'll drill 5 holes and put in 5 screws and then I got to get a new battery. And it's just not worth the portability. I'd just rather run a cord or bring the generator. It's just retarded how short they lasted. But the battery technology, fortunately, has gotten much better. When these came out, these are a game changer for me, these lithium batteries. Because now I could drill pretty much all day with a couple batteries and drill and drive with just a couple batteries. I was pretty excited that I got more life out of these tools. So using this drill for 18 years, it's had a hard life. And I've used it to drill steel, I've used it to drill in wood and concrete, building a carport, building a steel tractor barn, building a playhouse for my daughter that was pretty big hutch, big rock climbing wall, several swings on it, and the projects just go on and on. So those are just a few. And this is the tool that's done it. Problem is, we were ice fishing the other day, and the battery actually fell out when I was using this to start my auger. And that annoyed me a little bit because, well, anyway, I put the battery back in, and then I tried to start it again, and the battery fell out again. So I thought, okay, well, I'll turn it upside down, and then start the auger like this, and the battery still flipped out. So I was like, well, it's probably time to buy some more tools, and I'll come to that in just a minute. And here's why the battery is falling out. I mean, you can just look at it. This thing has had a hard life. It's all cracked, it's all broken, it's all fractured, all the way around the base. The level that used to be mounted right there as plastic broke off when I dropped it one day, and it broke, and so I'm not going to buy a new one or put it on. But the point is, 18 years old, okay? Reverse still works. I can go through all the settings with you here with one hand. The chuck works, the clutch works. It still works. I had to tape the battery, and you can see the tape that's left over just to hold the battery and so I could start the auger. But I still take it ice fishing and still use it to start the auger. So it's pretty cool that it's lasted this long. So here's my point. Is it a good drill? Yes, it's been a very good drill. And it's 18 years old, and the motor still works. The plastic around it is crumbling. It's deteriorating. Should you buy brushless tools? I don't know. If a regular brushed motor like this lasts 18 years of pretty rigorous use, now again, I'm not a construction guy, I'm not using this every day and hammering on it every day like you Milwaukee guys do and Makita guys do, but my point is it's lasted this long. If it was brushless and it lasted 40 years, the body's going to totally fall apart before the motor ever even gets close to wearing out. So that's kind of the question I'm posing for these manufacturers that are advertising these brushless motors. That they're going to last. So let's say a brushless motor lasts 20 years or 30 years. That's great, but if the tool's crumbling around it, then is it worth spending the extra money on brushless technology right now? For me, it's not. And that's my point, I guess, part of my point with this video. That just may not be worth it. Now, hopefully the plastics they're putting in these tools are better. Maybe DeWalt's plastic, Makita's, and all these major brands, maybe they're making better plastics now. Probably RYOBI's making better plastics now that'll hold up better. This has had a lot of sun. I don't leave it out in the sun, but it's had a lot of sun exposure just from me working with it, okay? So that breaks down the plastic too. And of course, it's had a hard life. It's been dropped several times from height, from off the roof. And and that may be why the plastic's kind of crumbling around it. But the motor still works. So that's my whole point is, should I buy brushless motor when a regular brushed motor seems to work fine? Now this drill is probably 10 years old, and I bought it reconditioned off eBay for, I don't remember, it wasn't very much. And I thought I'll just have this as a backup. Well, I've used this one pretty hard too. Use it for mixing paint. You can see I used it for mixing Monster Liner a couple times. Use it for mixing house paint and all kinds of drilling projects now. I've even taken ice fishing to start the auger, and so it's gotten some life as well, some hard use as well. Now to the batteries. I've had pretty good success with these smaller batteries. I think these are 1.5 amp hour battery. They're the small one. This is what it says on the bottom. Let's flip it over here. P102. Okay, and I've had 4 of these probably for several years now. My wife bought me 2 more new ones, I think probably 4 years ago, and I've had a couple of them a little bit longer than that. So they've lasted a long time, probably 5 or 6 years, and they're still going fine. They still charge fine. The bigger battery from RYOBI, and it's a P104 or P106, I can't remember. This one's called a P108, but the bigger battery, the 3 amp hour, I think is what it is. Maybe it's a 4 amp hour, from Home Depot is, it's $100. And that's a lot to spend on a battery. And one of them lasted like 3 years, and the last one I bought lasted a year. So I was like, well, if they still haven't figured out how to make these last, I'm just going to buy the generic ones on Amazon. I'm not going to buy the ones from Home Depot anymore. And this one was like 30. This is a generic one. I don't know. There's the brand. This was like around 30 bucks. And I've had it for 2 or 3 years now, I think, and it's still working pretty well. I mean, it's working fine, I should say. It holds a charge. It lasts a long time. It charges just like all the other batteries. It hasn't given me any problems, so I'm happy with that one. When this tool broke, though, I realized that this one might not be far behind it, and so I went ahead and bought these at Harbor Freight. And some of you are going to go, "Oh, Harbor Freight, that's awful," and some of you are going to go, "Yeah," and whatever. For 59 bucks for the battery, the charger, and the drill with a coupon, if it lasts me 3 years, I'm happy for 60 bucks. The reason I bought these Harbor Freight ones, though, is the replacement batteries. These ones right here, these, what are these? 1.5 amp hour? Yeah, 1.5 amp hour. These small ones, 20 volt, are like 24 bucks or just over 20 bucks for the battery, okay? And these ones, I think, run around 40 at Home Depot. So it's about half price, 40 something. Okay, now the 3 amp hour Harbor Freight ones are $44 exactly. And so are $43.99 or something. And so I bought 2 of those just to have a couple extras. I did buy the impact driver with this as well, this Bauer, so I could switch batteries back and forth, my drilling and my driving. And so far it's worked pretty good. I've only used it for one day pretty heavily, drilling and driving a bunch of boards, and it's done fine. I didn't buy brushless, I didn't buy the Milwaukee, I didn't buy the Makita, I didn't buy the Milwaukee's what I wanted, the DeWalt or whatever expensive brand. Rigid is what I'd probably really like to buy just because of their battery replacement policy. Rigid, supposedly, I've heard this, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that if you buy their battery and you buy their tools and you have a battery fail, you send it to them and they'll send you a new one after they get the old one back. Free. I think I'm sure you have to pay shipping, but that's the deal. They'll take care of you. So that's a lot to be said for Rigid. Although this tool I'm less worried about if I drop it off the roof, and I've dropped several of these off the roof, including that one, and I don't remember dropping that one, but I dropped another drill driver off the roof, and they still work, but if I bust it completely and the case cracks and I can't resuscitate it, I'm not going to cry at $59. If somebody steals it or I leave it on the job site out in the rain and it ruins it, I'm not going to cry. Okay, if I buy the $250 Milwaukee, I'm going to be crying for sure. So that's really why I bought these. I don't care if they don't last for 20 years and I can't give them to my great-grandkids. So what? If it gives me a few years of good life and I can beat it up and not worry about leaving it outside once in a while or whatever, then I'm happy. Okay, so this is really about the RYOBI tools. Would I buy them again? Yes, I would, and just because of the proof of that tool. The batteries, I think they could do better, and I would buy the inexpensive batteries on Amazon and just try those, because if they only last a year and you pay 30 bucks instead of 100 bucks, you'll be crying less at least. The Sawzall, I've used a lot, and the last project I did a couple years ago, I was sawing in heavy drywall dust, and it finally sucked up so much drywall dust. And I couldn't. I took it all apart and cleaned it, and couldn't resuscitate it. I just couldn't make it work again. The skill saw still works. I still use the skill saw. I still use the flashlight, and I still use the vacuum cleaner, and that drill still works. But the Sawzall is the only one that gave it the ghost, and it's really just because I abused it too badly in bad, dusty environments. So that was really my fault that it failed, because it was just full of drywall dust and just sucked it into the motor and just destroyed it. So I couldn't resuscitate it. Okay, so yes, I would buy them again. I would be happy to hear your comments. You've all had different experiences with these. Some failures, some successes. I'd be happy to read your comments down below. So thanks for leaving your comments.